Good afternoon, everyone. We have no one in person. Everyone is remote today. We will start with Larry Higgs from New Jersey Advanced Media. Larry?
Thanks. Two questions. First one is regarding the Bayonne Bridge. If any decision has been made about installing suicide prevention measures on the road side of the bridge. The second question is about PATH and what's the status of rolling out the OmniCard on PATH, and can some of the suggestions that were made by the audience member be included in that rollout?
Larry, we are going to have very significant announcements about the rollout next month, and I guess what I would say is stay tuned.
Let me just add to that, Larry. The commissioners and senior staff have been recently briefed on really exciting rollout with PATH. We're really enthusiastic about this, and it's going to be I think a really interesting, dynamic, added value. It's going to make it much more simpler for our riders, but you'll hear more of that next month. First question on Bayonne, in terms of the engineering.
Well, we're still looking at that, Larry. So there's really nothing new to say now, but we're taking the issue very seriously, but really don't have anything to announce right now.
Next question is Colleen Wilson with the Record. Colleen?
Thanks for taking my question. I wanted to know a little bit more about the contract that was approved for the Port Authority bus terminal. How is WSP working with or in addition to the work being done by Foster and Epstein group that's doing the overview of the rehab and the reconstruction? Sorry.
Well, this is a enormous endeavor. So the answer is that there are multiple firms working with the Port Authority on the planning and the preliminary engineering, advanced engineering, as well as preparation of the environmental impact statement. So, and there's no change. What happened today was that the board, this is a complicated project. There have been other funds provided in the run-up, and what happened today was that the Port Board approved additional planning and funding, which will keep everybody at work. And in terms of WSP was one of the early consultants hired to work on the planning, on the preparation of the environmental review. Foster and Epstein have been were hired to contribute, and they have made very significant contributions in terms of the architecture of the bus terminal. We have very high aspirations. We want it to be both an architectural gem, and we also want it to be highly functional in terms of capacity to handle the buses. We're looking to make it a facility which will be oriented toward electric buses. We want it to be net zero. So all of these consultants and planners and architects are working together under the leadership of the major capital projects led by Steve Plate, and they're all working well together, and this point is to keep that work going as fast as possible. And this is additional funding. There's no change in terms of the individuals who are working on the project.
And when can we expect an update on the work that they're doing?
Well, the work that they're doing is all the work that needs to go into the planning, the design, the architectural aspects of it, the preparation of an environmental impact statement on a project of this magnitude is just very, very high. So they're simply doing all the work that's needed in order to move this project forward.
Next question is Pat McGeehan, the New York Times. I believe we have Pat on the phone. Pat, a reminder, *6 unmutes.
Hi. So my question is about the strike that was planned for today at LaGuardia by the workers for Swissport and their complaints, both here and elsewhere. They've got complaints about the way that Swissport is treating its workers, and I'm wondering if the Port Authority has taken any action, gotten involved in any way, talked to Swissport about these complaints.
I have not received, I don't think any of the senior leadership has talked to Swissport or gotten involved in this. In general, the labor relations of contractors and consultants on the airport are required to abide by Port Authority rules, but the elements of an employee-employer aspects are between the employer and the employee. Given the fact that there was an action at the airport, we will look into it from the point of view of whether everyone is respecting Port Authority policies. The most obvious one is we have the highest minimum wage requirements on the airports, or at least one of the highest in the country, and we will obviously look into whether that is being respected or whether there are other aspects of the Port Authority rules and regulations that are involved in this. But at this point, I don't know the details of the dispute. They didn't raise them, as I say, with me, but we will look into it, Pat.
Yeah, Pat, so we just came out of our monthly meeting, and I just heard about this literally 5 minutes ago. And obviously we'll investigate, and if there's any role for the Port Authority, we'll report back out to the press.
Thanks. Are you expecting it to have any effect on passengers, on your customers at the airport?
The reports that we've had from aviation and from the airport is that there's been no impact to operations whatsoever.
Next question is Michael Aronson with the Daily News. Michael, reminder, *6 unmutes if you're on the phone.
Gentlemen, did that work?
Yes,
Yes.
it did.
Okay. Thank you. This is a straightforward thing for Mr. O'Toole. Your term as a commissioner ends in 8 days on the 30th. Are you seeking to be reappointed to another 6-year term, or are you going to just continue as a holdover like with Mr. Linford? Do you want another term as commissioner? Have you had any conversations with the Murphy administration? Just, what can the public expect when your term expires, if anything?
Michael, thank you for that. And now we have the full attention of all the Port Authority employees who are staring at me right this minute. So, Michael, I will tell you, when I took the 6 years ago, if you can believe it, I never anticipated going beyond a 6-year term. Frankly, have really enjoyed the time here. I haven't decided whether I'm going to seek another 6-year, but I will tell you it's my intention to be here for a few more years in a holdover. Have had some really significant conversations with Governor Murphy and his folks. Really enjoy the work and looking forward to continuing working with Rick and the vice chair. And I foresee a few more years left as I'm heading towards 60. I'm saying I got a couple more left in me.
Thank you.
Next question is Lorena Mangelli with Newsday.
Hi, thank you. I just had a question about the bus options in Queens, going to LaGuardia Airport with this additional funding that was approved. What's next?
Well,
Hello?
yes, no, the Port Authority prepared a 450-page report on all 14 options. It included these two. The expert panel recommended that we pursue those two. There are timeframes in the report with respect to estimated timetable or time that it would take to implement them. We intend to meet that timetable. And so what's next is moving forward on each step of the process in terms of taking projects like this and moving them from planning, moving them through whatever environmental review process is required, and then moving to implementation. And that's what we intend to do with both of the bus routes. They are described in detail in the report, and as I say, there's a timetable associated with each one.
Thank you.
Last question, Steve Nesson with WNYC. Steve.
Hey there. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Just to follow up on the bus question, I guess I'm curious. We heard from folks today, and I see on the MTA's website itself that Astoria Ditmars is not an accessible station, and it's not even on the list of stations with plans to be made accessible. So my first question is, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to press the MTA to make it an accessible station? And second question is, what exactly are you going to use the $30 million for that was just approved today?
Well, we will certainly address the accessibility station. I think to be a viable and effective public transit option to the airport, it has to be accessible. So that will be part of the planning. And what the money goes for is precisely what it says, which is planning. It means we bring in consultants with expertise in particular areas. And move the project forward in terms of design, in terms of preliminary engineering, scope it out, and then include a cost estimate comes along with that, and a plan of with a timeline in terms of what happens when. So that money will be used to move the project forward.
Right. That concludes the gaggle. Thank you very much, everyone.